Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Moore, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Moore, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Virus 32 streaming on Shudder. Oh boy, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. And with me this week is my co-host, Jeff Moore. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm great.
You are great.
What?
I'm in Iowa where it snowed on Easter.
Oh, yay.
Oh, that's crazy, right?
April snow. Isn't that wonderful? All right. Also joining this week is Crystal Cleveland. She's the living dead girl. How you doing?
I'm fabulous. It is weird, though, because we had, our weather was in the 40s this week in North Carolina.
It was chilly as
crazy.
You know what? Yeah.
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 But I like it. I'm
like it?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That was weird.
That was weird? Yeah. All right. All right. Well, let's welcome award-winning filmmaker. I'm Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm like, running up and down the wall.
Doing
what?
Well.
That's what it says in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
They're roaches running up and down the wall.
Ah,
Get it? Yeah.
Yes. Now I do. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right.
There are buildings in this movie that feel like roaches would be going up the wall.
Oh, no, you're not kidding.
That's true. It's sad.
Not kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are here to review Virus 32. What we're going to do is give our first impression. That will be spoiler free. And then we're going to dive into a discussion, which we will get into spoilers. Just playing on Shudder. Watch the movie. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, a 1 to 5, and our favorite scene.
Yep.
Yes. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And of course, we hope you subscribe, share with a friend, hit the little bell to get notifications and all that good stuff. Yeah. And of course, leave some comments down below.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the card. Virus 32, available streaming on Shudder beginning April 21st to 2021. I almost said 2021. Oh no. Director is Gustavo Hernandez, written by Gustavo and Huma Fode? No, that's not right at all, but we'll go with it. Cast includes Paula Silva, Sofia Gonzalez, and Daniel Hindler. The synopsis is a rabid spreading virus which transforms people into intelligent, ultra-violent, extra-fast zombie hunters. Really? After each wave of attack by the monsters, they're left incapacitated for 32 seconds while they recover their strength. 32 seconds to live or die. Virus 32. I like that. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, let's dive into our first impressions. Christopher G. Moore, you're first. Let us have
it. Yeah, I mean, I think before watching this, I'm any of the type of sort of zombie-ish films I'm always a little bit apprehensive about because I'm not sure, because we kind of had a little bit of burnout, things like Walking Dead. And I think in the very beginning, I was like, the whole beginning kind of slogs, and I didn't really believe. And the mom character is like the worst mom in the world. She's more teenager than her teenager. But then I think once stuff starts happening, it gets more interesting. I mean, it does have some very tense moments. There's also moments like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how this would work. And then the whole 32 seconds element of it kind of boggles the mind. I mean, it's kind of an interesting take on. I mean, these zombies are more like the what was the name of that film?
World War Z, like type or
no, not World War Z.
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
Yes.
More 28 Days Later. Almost like angry, angry. A virus that makes you angry
and aggressive
and then you have to kill or whatever, and then you have like a 32-second window, which is kind of odd. But I don't know. I mean, there's like this one moment where a character shows up and there's like the most extraneous exposition dump.
Mm-hmm.
This is about my life. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, shut up. Why don't these zombies kill him, please? But as much as there are parts of the film that annoyed me, there were a couple of things I was like, holy crap, this movie's got some balls. They're taking it places I was not expecting to go. And I was like, oh God. There's one moment I was like, oh my gosh, did they go there? So I think there are some intriguing elements of it, but and, and I didn't really like the main character as much because I mean I guess she has sort of an arc, but I don't know. There's it doesn't make up for a lot of parts of it. I was like, this doesn't make sense. There's like, without saying, there's like one part where they do something. It's like, I don't know how this is going to help you in this situation. So I don't know. I'll say that I will say that it does have a couple of parts that kind of like, oh gosh, I don't know if I'd ever see this in an American film. So I'll give it that much.
There you go. There you go. I like that.
That's something.
All right, Jeff Moore, you're up next, sir. What is your first impression of Virus 32?
Well, it's interesting that I guess I should have read the synopsis before I watched the movie because it took me almost to the end of the movie before I figured out what the hell the 32 seconds was. I mean, I didn't, but she was like showing those videos and looking at the 32. Yeah. I'm like going, what is it?
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but that's okay. And I think Chris kind of alluded to this. Something happens fairly early that tells you that the gloves are off. Something that is like a no-no in horror films that people get really upset about. So I knew right away then that, it's one of those anybody, anything can die. So it doesn't really spend any time trying to explain how we got here or what's going on. It's just here's what it is, and so I kind of enjoyed it. Although this I don't know, Louise, I had a problem with Louise. I guess Luis seemed like, I guess he was in shock. He didn't seem to be seeing reality for what it really was. But I loved Paula Silva. I thought she was great as Iris. And the little girl was really good too. And I'm not sure if we have her name from this. I didn't get it off the credits.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We got 4 people. And I don't know if it's them. So
there's a scene where, anyway, I enjoyed it. It's got a few different things to it than most zombie movies. And I like the way they describe that. Ultra violent, ultra fast. I forget exactly how it was, but yeah. Except for that 32 seconds, which was given away in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
No.
But it's. I had some problems with the logic of some of the choices that the characters were making.
That I believe. All right, Crystal, you're up next. Your first impression of Virus 32.
So when you start watching this film, you immediately see like this old couple and the old man kill a bird. Then it launches into this single shot that is like 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute single shot of Iris and her roommate, I guess, in their apartment. And to me, it just screamed that the director was like trying to show off or something. I don't know. I was like, this is still one shot. And it was actually done well, but it was boring as hell. And it was more than we needed about these characters. So I feel like it was more for the director to do than had anything to do with the movie. So it kind of turned me off from the get-go with that. I feel like the story is honestly kind of gimmicky. I think they're trying to do something different with zombies and it could have been okay just the way it is. Just do it the way it is. Just do it, because the location was cool. I did like, the odd thing about the lead character is I agree with Christopher that she comes off as this immature teenager, but come to find out that she's had some heartache, and I guess we're trying to say she's not a bad mother. I don't know that she ever was. She made a mistake maybe, but she really has never tried to remedy. I don't know. It's a very odd thing. I don't know that she actually has an arc. I don't know. I don't get her, really. She's odd. I know that she loves her children, or her Tata. Like, that's obvious. But she doesn't seem very obvious with it, because I would never have left my child without me. She's like 8 or something. It's just blows my mind. Knowing what happened in the past, it doesn't make any sense as to what she does in the here and now. And I'm like, whatever. I would be overly protective. But, I think most women would. So I think that the story is written without any real logic. I'm like, I just don't, that just makes no sense to me. I could see yeah. But anyway, I did like the location, and I liked the zombies and some of the weirdness that, like, that one zombie that was that was so creepy and weird. I don't know. I liked the way that they handled a lot of things. I liked the cameras, because she's a security guard, so she was watching these security cameras. I did like quite a few of the elements. I think that some of the other things, though, could have been actually left out, and I think it would have made the movie better. Now, there is a moment that comes where you think something has happened that hasn't, and thankfully it didn't, because I was like, this movie's garbage. Like, at that point, I was like, if they did that, it wasn't what happened, thankfully. So, because I was like, this movie's all just shock value. It's all gimmicky. But they redeemed themselves. And overall, shockingly, with as much as I've downed this, I found it entertaining. Okay, yeah. I mean, I did. I watched it and I was like, okay, that's good. But I wasn't invested in it. Mm-hmm. So, what does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if some of the stuff is lost in translation, because
no,
you don't think so, because it is
no, it's not. Well, they did actually. I can tell you that the person translating the subtitles did not translate them
I mean
properly, because one page she says "damn" and she actually cussed, but it's okay. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if I'm not specifically saying the subtitles. I mean, the context is lost in translation, because it is an Argentina-Uruguay film, and I just wonder if there's some social stuff that isn't really coming across. But the first 30 minutes of this really made it rough for me to watch it, and I was like, I think I'm with you, Crystal. It was hard. I wasn't invested, and actually had a difficult time staying with the movie. But once there's a certain thing that happens when she's hiding, and I think a scene we'll talk about later that might trigger some people, but because some people are very sensitive about pets, it did. And but I came around to once I started understanding our lead, because at first I was like, I was having trouble figuring out, is this the mom, the sister, what's going on? Definitely a young mother, right? Maybe too young. And I was having a hard time just kind of focusing on it and getting invested to even pay attention. But there was a point where something happened. I'm not really sure what, but I got into it. And then there was a series of really intense scenes. When they get back to the pool, there's one in with this. It involves a wheelchair and a mom. That's all I'll say right here. Then they go to the boiler room, and in horror movies, boiler rooms aren't good, so don't go to the boiler room. And so there's a series of these real intense scenes, but in between those and before before that, it was just kind of like, I don't know. I wasn't up to speed to what it was trying to share with me, and I had a hard time connecting with the character, connecting with the situation, even connecting with the location. I didn't really understand what they were doing, where they were, other than the security guard aspect of it. Like, what is this? So I those are all things that kind of chip away at enjoying the film as a whole, right? But there are scenes in here that I think a lot of people will really like. I think overall, a lot of people will enjoy this film. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
It's like an athletic club, by the way. That was the
Yeah,
location.
but it was so dilapidated, and
But
Yeah,
the
well-
whole area is
Well,
dilapidated.
I was like,
Well, that's true.
Who uses that club?
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, like, I mean,
Oh, I'm with you, but
you have a
did you see-
like, a
you know, when they-
basketball court or whatever that's got water.
Water,
on it, right?
I know.
Yeah, no.
You can't even it looks like you can't even put stuff in lockers because they're all like broken down. And then they have like I really want to work at a club with creepy flashing lights in the end of the hallway. But yeah, I didn't understand. It's like, I'm not sure there's any kind of, worth to actually monitor that building.
I agree.
Because there's like broken windows and everything.
right,
I
it was
don't know.
weird. It was very weird. I couldn't really figure. So I had no context. It kind of, it wasn't a place I could relate to.
I mean,
it
it
didn't really
makes-
establish it.
Well,
So-
it makes for a creepy place for
Yeah.
people to attack you. I mean, it has that going for it, but at the
Well, I
same time-
definitely wondered why there was a security guards or whatever it was they were doing there.
yeah.
Well, whoever
yeah.
it was still Daniel, was it Daniel or whoever it was, still wanted to protect what they had. I don't know. Like, I agree with Doc. Maybe some of this is lost in translation. Every place in that area looked like it was dilapidated. Maybe this is one of the better things in that area, though. Maybe it's probably one of the places where people can go and actually. I know, but we're.
Well,
We're
it might
spoiled.
be. It might be
We're
something
kinda
like a lot of people from that area know about. Like if you do, New York in the 80s and 90s, you know what you're talking about, right? When you see it, but maybe not everywhere in the world knows that. So maybe that's what it is. So it's just one of those things. But let's move off of that and get into some of the. A couple of you have mentioned disturbing stuff. I mentioned a pet. You guys can talk about some other stuff. Anything, Christopher? You jump on this because you said there was a couple things that you didn't think American films would actually do.
Well, I think this is one of the part that Crystal was kind of talking about without saying it. I mean, the whole film is her protecting her daughter.
Yeah, a lot of it trying to
We're
find
already
it.
in Spoilerville, so please.
Yeah, we are in spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when she finally helps that one guy and goes down in the boiler room and finds that
Oh, yeah.
a little girl's body in that, I was like, oh my God, did they, I mean, holy shit. I mean, did this happen? Because there's that whole emotional scene, and I was like feeling for it. I was like, oh my God. I mean, and then I thought, well, is it going to be one of those things where she's just like taking zombies left and right in her vengeful state? And then I like, okay, that they had sort of a nice way of saying, okay, she's still alive. And I was like, oh my God. And I mean, there's even, and we even get another scene involving the baby. It's like, oh,
Oh,
Whoa,
that
wow.
I know. That was close too.
I was like, even though,
There's a couple scenes with the baby.
well, there's a couple of things of the baby. It was like American Sniper level CGI baby.
I was about to say I really disliked at the birth of the baby. It was bad CGI. That actually totally took me out of the movie. I was like, why are they doing this?
But when she's holding that baby in that corner, I was like, oh my God, I don't. I mean, it was those two moments, the dead girl in the boiler and that, I was like, oh my God, this film's going someplace I was not expecting. So I was kind of shocked because I was like, are they gonna do it? Although that's foreign cinema usually can throw you off because they usually will be a little bit more risky than American films a lot of times. So I was like, oh. But I mean, those two scenes alone are like I was so tense watching. I was like, oh God. This is hard to watch.
It was. I thought those were incredibly tense scenes, and there's when the mother's in a wheelchair because she's tied up because she's infected, but obviously they want to try to save the baby. And then there's moments where other things come around her, and it was really
The one that could sense.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it was
how you
slim.
knew that the baby was okay. And I was
Right,
like,
right.
oh, that's I did see some of these moments I really liked about the film. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, or just knowing that, like we saw earlier about like the little girl when she puts a thumbprint, it turns red. Things like that I thought were very the few logistic things that kind of worked or made sense story wise. But then you know the other things like the whole let's set off smoke bombs in in the pool.
Well, that was all for show, right? Because well, at least Christopher, at least they foreshadowed it by finding them and putting them into their bags.
Well, I knew that. It was like
not like they
smoke bomb, you know.
Yeah, it's not like they pulled it out of their ass. They actually set it up. But I just like it was so unusual. Like all the zombies are at the windows and at the doors, and they all break in at the same time. Like what the hell?
Like why is that the one place they want to break into?
Right.
Well, that was a minor.
What?
Well, that's minor. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. The whole 32-second thing, as much as it's a gimmick, it didn't really make sense, you know, other than let's have a scene that's like, you know, Silent Hill where they're like frozen in place or something.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. Because of that, it would be so easily to be. It would be so easy to be just off a bit. And at what point does the 32-second start? After they finish their freaking abuse? I mean, I just think that's.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole 32-second. The whole 32-second thing just kind of like what?
Well,
I know.
I guess I got it. I just didn't
like it.
Well, no, I was okay with it. I just didn't figure it out right away. Is all, just because I'm a little slow on that stuff. But,
no, they didn't really. They didn't do. They did. They leaned so much into explaining that father with the pregnant lady stuff. Him over explaining it, but then they didn't really explain a lot of stuff involving 32 seconds. They sort of wanted you to figure it out little by little. And I mean, a lot of it was explained when the guys showed up, you know. But it didn't really make. I don't know. And then when she does the 32-second thing on her thing, it didn't really make sense why she would think that would be the reason behind it.
What drove me nuts was when, and this is part of what Crystal was saying, I think, I could sort of see the mother leaving the girl alone in that, whatever it was, gymnasium, if, you know, maybe she's worked there for like 6 months and nobody's ever come in. So, you know, it's fairly safe. I just got to go do my rounds. But then when it turns out it's not safe and she's looking on the camera and is trying to figure out where, I don't know, it just seemed like she's just sitting there, you know, go get your kid when you find out there's crap going on. And then when the guy, Luis, comes and saves her in the swimming pool, and then when they go from the swimming pool to where he's keeping his wife, up until that point, every place she goes, she has to look and hide and look around the corners, and there's things running across the hallway and everything. And then as soon as she gets with him, they just kind of saunter down the hallway to go where
I know, and they're so loud.
They're not even looking around or nothing. You know?
I know. Yeah.
I was like, if this place is so safe, why don't you just stay there?
Well,
anyway.
That and I literally rolled my eyes when she was like, go to the docks. You know?
Well,
like she's going to take care of herself.
Yeah, and so I think that this we probably all talked about the same scene and said it in different ways, but the scene that Doc was talking about in terms of the pet, to me, that scene is what makes you believe the boiler room scene or any of the other ones that something could happen, because they've already done this crazy ass thing that you usually don't see on movies in the U.S. Right.
So if you give them like an animated baby doll, would they think it's alive, or are they too smart for that?
Oh,
I guess they're more intelligent.
They did smell it. They did kind of smell it. So yeah.
They could
I'd
sense
say
Well, they
yeah.
figured
in it, I
there was
guess.
places, there was some things they figured out, and then there was other things where they're like, if these are smart and can figure out tricky ways to get into places, why are they all standing there with their hands on the windows? You know,
Oh, I
it's,
know. Because
there wasn't,
because
it
it
just,
was
there was
trying to be
inconsistent
creepy.
logic and choices of actions is what bothered me. And the thing I loved the way it looked. I loved the uh, cinematography, and then even this will probably sound weird, but when she was sitting there looking at those monitors, and you couldn't really tell what the monitors were, they looked everything like something from like a German expressionistic film from the 20s. Just lots of, and then when they were moving up and down the hallways, you just had all these weird. There's a lot of odd camera angles and these weird shadows and the way the hallways were. It just was uh, uncomfortable or disquieting.
Yes, I agree. That's I did.
Scenario.
I have to admit I liked a lot of the shots and stuff. I'm just
Well,
saying. I know I poo pooed on that first shot,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
was like, maybe that was the director's attempt at trying to make this ridiculous, boring scene more palpable. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, like, if the problem is a lot of times when you create something, you don't want it to detract from what's happening. And so
Fair.
if you have a scene with competent actors or competent thing, whatever they're doing, you're not really going to pay attention that this is a 10-minute long thing, you know. It's usually supposed to flow along with it. Like, you know, if we want to talk about visuals, the whole her finding the dead body in the boiler, there's a lot of artistic stuff that goes along with that. In fact, right after they do the thing like
The camera's attached
the
to your
camera's
chest, right?
attached to the person,
Yeah.
and you sort of you're sort of in their shoes, feeling the frenetic nature and the loss and stuff, and so like that goes along with their emotions and stuff. But yeah, the opening scene, I mean, I was like, if I have to watch, if the rest of this movie's like this,
Yes.
I'm gonna poo the whole film.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is so boring. I didn't even
Yeah.
believe that the conversations they were having, it seemed I mean, I even didn't have I had problems with the initial conversation with her and her daughter, you know, like, ooh. And I don't know, some parts of that just didn't
It's
seem kind of
not beer,
fake.
it's rum. Because I'm a
Yeah.
good mom.
I was like, oh God.
Yeah. She was
And
trying to be her daughter's friend, not her mother. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a different story
Yeah,
altogether.
but
Like they didn't lean into it enough.
didn't
But
work for me.
no. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give it our final thoughts, our score of 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Christopher G. Moore, sir, you are up first.
This does not reinvent the zombie wheel, but it does have a few elements that make it stand out than, you know, among the scattershot amount of products that come out involving zombie. I think they're trying to create their own sort of weird mythology, but I don't think it really works the way they want it to, and logistically doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think any kind of virus would do that, but I guess most viruses aren't going to reanimate flesh either. But I don't know. I mean, there's parts that annoyed me. There's character choices that annoy me. There's things logistically don't make sense. But there's a few weird situations that kind of like, oh gosh, this is kind of ballsy in the areas that they take us, to where it literally the boiler room scene, I was aghast. I was like, oh, they're not going to do this, are they? Because I was going to be like Crystal, like, I'm going to hate the rest of this film if this is where this is going. But I give them, you know, I give them points for doing something and putting you through this emotional point in the film. So I don't know. It's got its moments, but it's not. But you know, story wise, it's like there feels like. It feels like, oh, this would be a cool scene to do here. This would be a cool scene to do here, or this will logistically be a cool scene for them to react to, as opposed to something that kind of flowed well. So it's beautifully shot in scenes and parts, but yeah, a lot of the motivations don't make a lot of sense. I will give it a I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I give it I mean, I think I don't know if you want to call it good. The memorable parts outweigh the bad.
There you go.
Yes. So I'll give it an okay rating because I literally I'm probably going to be haunted by these
Oh
things
my
just
God.
because I was like I felt so bad for the situations, and I'm not sure what I would do, especially the crazy husband guy. As for favorite scene, I'm gonna have to say the boiler room scene.
Hard not to choose that one. Yeah.
It's just for something that's like so dramatic and horrible. It's visually very memorable.
It's real done with the shot with the arms.
Well, there's the way that you see the outline of the body in the fire, and her looking at it, and you know the way they use the light off of that onto her, because there's almost like an element of red and blue in scenes and stuff, and that visually should not look so good for something so horrible that's happening. But you feel it in that scene. You feel her. I mean, I was like, oh God. It's like, I guess because when you've got to the certain point, and her main point is to keep her kids safe, and you think, oh crap. But yeah, that scene definitely stands out as the scene, the most memorable scene for me.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff Moore, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene.
Well, I'm going to be nice and not take the scene that I think Doc's going to take. Maybe he's not. I don't know. But no, I think it's worth a watch. And God, I can't believe this. We're right in total agreement, Christopher. I give it a 3 as well. Because
it's a first.
I got to write this down. Right?
Yeah, there's lots of illogical nonsense going on, but I'm always a sucker for good visuals, and there are some really memorable scenes. And as crazy as she was, I liked Paula Silva in that character, and I think she does kind of have an arc. I mean, she changes from being pretty much totally about herself to making a sacrifice for her daughter towards at the end. Favorite scene, I'm going to go with this is going to seem odd with all these other crazy scenes, but there was these little lights that she had to do in her rounds where she had to give it her thumbprint, and it would turn green to show that she did it. And if somebody else did it, it turned red. And that's how she figured out her daughter was leaving those red lights like breadcrumbs. I thought
that was cool awesome. Thing. Yeah. No, that's a good choice. I like that as well. Crystal, you're up next. Yeah. Your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene.
Okay, so I obviously I do think this movie is a good watch. I mean, I think it's going to be a better watch for some people, and I just have a few little issues with it. I'm actually giving it a little bit of a higher score. Shockingly, I'm giving it a 3.25.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I almost wish they'd not done a 32. So I just feel like it's just just a little silly. But my favorite scene is, and it has a little bit of a personal thing to it, but it's the zombies can't swim thing. I was dying. I knew that's where they were going. I was like, but zombies can't swim. That guy's swimming. Okay. Yep. It's like the universal joke. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Well,
but how did that guy come? I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. I kind of screw it over in the end, but I guess they can't die. They actually can't die.
Wait, what part?
Well, the one in the swimming pool wakes up.
Oh yeah, they just can't swim. It's not that they die; it's that they can't swim. There's a difference. They can't swim. Oh, well, there's something to. I can't talk about it. I'm not allowed.
I think by showing him waking up, I assumed people could actually be killed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reminds me a little of Land of the Dead. Right, walking across. All right. I think this is great Shudder film. I think this is a classic Shudder film. I think a lot of Shudder fans are really going to like this. There are some very tense and nerve-wracking scenes that you're, like Christopher said, that one scene he chose, it comes at the right time, because it's not, it's right when it should be an entirely different emotion, and you get that instead, and it kind of kicks you in the ass and a little bit of a gut punch, right, Christopher? And then, and so I thought, and it showed off our actress really well too, because she really nailed that particular scene, and really impressed me in that. And I think as the movie goes on, she gets her character and her acting as the character get much better.
I agree with that.
And so I did not enjoy the first 30 minutes much at all, but the latter half of it, I really started to get into it. I don't know. I thought it was a little hectic with, going, trying to find her daughter. Where is she going? And it seemed there was some pacing issues. I don't think we talked about that, but there is some weird pacing issues with that. It doesn't really, have the right kind of thrust, for lack of a better word, to get to the point where she finds her daughter. It just kind of, meanders a little bit every once in a while around the pool, But anyway, I was going to give it a 3.5. I feel very strange doing that, but I'm going to do it. I think this will be a hit with Shudder fans. So check it out. Let us know what you think. My favorite scene, I actually have a few, and I even now, you guys didn't choose, but one of my four favorite scenes. Which one do I go with? I'm going to go. Okay, the scene that. Yes, the boiler scene probably was the most emotional, but the one that actually had me even more tense, I believe, is the baby scene when she was holding the baby, and
you just got that head.
So I guess the 32 seconds were up. I really was confused by that. I still was trying to catch on, but the way she had that baby's head was just frightening, and the way they were standing around and trying to convince her that it was her child, it was just really well done. It was shot real well, and the baby, whether it was a CGI baby or not, it looked it was effective. And I was like, oh, don't pop that baby's head. Don't eat that baby's head. Don't eat her face. But I don't know. I thought the resolution of that scene had some impact too with the father. So
minus CGI.
Well, you got to give it, I guess a little slack. I think you do, but yeah, you're right.
I couldn't get over how stupid the father was for letting.
I know. I was like, oh, dude, what a fool.
Yeah, but
anyway.
if I didn't choose that, I would have chosen when the other zombie girl with the knife, the actual knife, walked past her and stopped and sniffed the baby.
Yeah, and then she was gonna.
That was another moment.
Oh my god!
Like, are we gonna see her cut that baby?
I know. Me too.
Zombie on zombie C-section. This is crazy.
Okay.
And
well, now I got to take the one I was going to do. I'm switching to the cat scene.
The cat. Oh my god, the cat.
Because to me, that set up the whole all that tension you're talking about with the baby and the boilers. And
there's going to be some people that could get more triggered by that than they are by the baby.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know.
And it isn't that I enjoyed watching it.
Well, yeah. Well, they usually. Yeah, but I don't know.
It isn't that I enjoyed watching it. It's that to me, it's set up that you couldn't trust what was going to happen. It wasn't going to go by the norms. So
if the girl had cut the baby out, would that be called a Z-section?
But all right, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to try the vehicle and tip the waitress on the way out. All right, let's.
On that note.
All right, that's our review for Virus 32, streaming now on Shudder. Check it out and let us know what you think down below in the comments. Jeff, Crystal, Christopher, thank you for joining me. This was fun as always.
Thanks for having us.
It's fun to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.